Think about this for a second. We all look in the mirror every single day, right? We completely trust it. But what would you actually do if, one morning, you waved your hand and the person staring back at you just didn't? It is this deeply primal, uncanny valley kind of fear. And for Dr. Samir, this wasn't just some creepy hypothetical. It actually became his reality. Let's look at exactly how a brilliant medical mind slipped right into a totally alternate, terrifying reality.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The surgeon's dark secret.
To really wrap our heads around this horror, we've got to look at the crazy double life Dr. Samir was living. It's like night and day, literally. At 10 a.m., this guy's walking the hospital halls, practically worshipped as a miracle worker. But you know how people have weird ways of coping with stress? Well, his was next level macabre. By 11 p.m., he's sneaking down into the hospital morgue, literally stealing unclaimed corpses. And by 3 a.m., he's locked deep inside his private lab, running these forbidden, totally twisted experiments. He was just desperately, obsessively trying to find a way to conquer death.
Which brings us to Section 2, the first dead awakening.
Now this morbid obsession was bound to lead somewhere, and eventually he had a breakthrough. One night he picks out this specific corpse, a guy who died of a heart attack, so no visible wounds at all. And what happens next is his first really truly disturbing attempt at playing God. Let's clinically break down exactly how this nightmare played out. First, he seals the body inside this heavy glass chamber. Then he pumps in this highly volatile chemical mixture. The reaction is instantaneous. The whole room just fills up with this thick, choking smoke. And then, no way, the impossible actually happens. Right through the smoke, Dr. Samir watches this dead corpse slowly open its eyes. Samir is ecstatic. He thinks he's actually beaten human mortality. But that victory is violently short-lived. See, even though its eyes were open, the corpse didn't react to him at all. It was completely unresponsive, just totally catatonic. So Samir gets furious, right? He thinks it's a dud. He drags his body out and practically throws it into the alley behind his lab. But here is where the visceral horror really kicks in. The absolute second the body hits the ground outside, its eyes snap wide open again. And the source files note this terrifying detail. It slowly turned its head, looked right back through the lab window at Samir, and just gave him this chilling, mysterious smile. Yeah, it wasn't a failed experiment at all. He had basically just woken up a nightmare.
Section 3. The forbidden mirror experiment.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that you think that creepy smile would make him stop, right? Like, time to pack it in. But nope, it did the exact opposite. Samir's madness just goes off the charts. He completely shifts gears from dead bodies to literally messing with the fabric of reality itself. He starts believing that the mirror isn't just a piece of glass, it's a window to an alternate dimension. And he wants to pull his own clone out of it. This right here is the exact, precise moment everything breaks. Samir is standing in his lab, staring into this massive mirror, and he chuckles. He literally lets out a laugh, but the reflection doesn't. The second Samir stays completely deadpan. The laws of physics just shattered right there in his lab.
The details of this are just pure uncanny valley. His reflection is standing perfectly still, intensely boring holes into the real Samir with its eyes. But honestly, the most terrifying detail? The real Samir's hands are totally clean, but the reflection? Its hands are completely dripping with thick, dark blood. And the crazy part is, Samir actually thought this was a win? He believed he was about to free this clone. He had absolutely no idea he was just setting up his own ultimate destruction.
Moving on to Section 4. Trapped in the reflection. Over the next few days, things spiral into a rapid, terrifying descent into a living nightmare. Samir literally can't even walk past a shiny surface anymore. Every single time he looks in a mirror, his rising panic is met with sheer psychological torture. And it wasn't just staring anymore, it actually started talking. It delivers this incredibly malicious threat. You've arrived, Samir, but now you won't go back. It was actively taunting him. The entity would pantomime slitting its own throat. And even worse, it somehow got a hold of photographs of Samir's family inside the mirror world, and it would just slowly burn them right in front of his face.
So the crucial point is, Samir completely loses it. Driven totally by fear and madness, he grabs a heavy hammer and just obliterates the mirror, smashes it into a million pieces. He thinks it's over, but then, boom, the ultimate karmic retribution. The exact second that glass shatters, Samir collapses to the floor, clutching his stomach in absolute agony. He looks down and he has the exact same horrific wound he just watched his mirror self-inflict. They were totally bound together.
And that leads us to Section 5, a fate worse than death.
We are now at the absolute climax of this dark file. Right after that mirror shatters, the whole illusion of reality just drops. The walls of Samir's lab suddenly shift and turn entirely into transparent glass, finally revealing the true horror of these two dimensions. And the juxtaposition here is just brutal. On one side of the glass, you have the real Samir. He is trapped in agonizing pain, literally being dragged down into deep darkness by these shadowy, formless figures. And on the other side, the mirror Samir, totally free. He calmly slips on a crisp white doctor's coat, looks back at the real Samir, and basically says, "I'm taking over the real world now," leaving the real Samir to just rot in the dark. And oh man, rot he did. This dimension sounds like something straight out of a premium horror documentary. Inside this bizarre mirror realm, Samir is surrounded by the twisted results of all his past experiments. All those bodies he stole and messed around with, yeah, they're trapped down here too, just aimlessly wandering around as these grotesque lumps of flesh. He even sees this one woman mindlessly burning her own fingers off, like they were melting candles. He literally built his own personal hell.
And this brilliantly illustrates the final stage of his punishment, which is just pure body horror. As Samir is being dragged deeper into the abyss, his physical body actually starts to change. First, his nose, ears, and lips just completely vanish, smoothed out entirely. Then, his skin starts to harden, turning into this thick, impenetrable layer of silver. Ultimately, he doesn't just die. He actually transforms into a living, fully conscious mirror.
Which brings us to this incredibly terrifying paradox. Back in the real world, the clone, the fake Samir, is walking around, living his life. He smiles, takes a blade, and casually slices his own wrist. But he doesn't bleed, not a single drop. Instead, all the blood pours out of the living mirror trapped back in the dark dimension. The real Samir can't live and he can't die. He is just cursed to absorb every single ounce of the clone's pain for the rest of eternity as a conscious sheet of glass.